So none of your information is attached to it. So everybody, keep smiling movement down there.com. Done. Now, now that we're done the promo stuff, Ken, I want to talk to you about your mom and why your mission happens. That got real deep real fast, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
But
I'm glad we took a break.
Yeah. But I want to talk to you about your mom and why you're doing the Keep Smiling movement.
Well, I think if you have a fan that says you can do anything, you have someone that you're going to miss a lot when they're in trouble. So she got dementia and Alzheimer's, and I became a caregiver with my dad. And in doing so, kind of rocked my world to lose my biggest fan. Decided I'd create something with my life that would be a tribute to her. And in doing so, I created a purpose-driven life. And this is the 7-year journey to actually get one of these Keep Smiling cards from a gentleman named Barry Shore. And when he handed me the card, I said, you know what, I really resonate with this because if you think about what our earlier question was in the previous episode was, what choices do you have about being happy? And if you think about Keep Smiling, it's actually just a choice of causing your brain to say, you know what, in the moment, I want to be present with positivity, which means you attract all kinds of wonderful things. And abundance is included in that. So you don't actually have any pitfalls to having a happy life or a smile on your face.
Now, when we talk about smiling, do you really mean, or is the purpose just to smile for the sake of smiling and to have those endorphins hit, or is it to smile and get through what's happening, or just to be present? What's the actual purpose of Keep Smiling?
All the above and probably 15 others. So when you're smiling, you are shifting how your mental state is. And so if you're in some mucky stuff, including even losing a dear friend or a family member, the smiling isn't about saying, hey, I want to fake it. The smiling is about being grateful for the time you had with them and to actually think about all the beautiful moments you had with them. And then it turns into a non-depressing aspect. And then you start attracting again in your life, love. People that smile genuinely and practice often. Kids practice 400 times a day. My little one that was running around, he is a smiler. And the people that smile the most not only enjoy life in the present, but they usually get an extra 7 years tacked on their life because smiling actually has a chemical and a cellular level benefit as well. And we have all these things that we can give you and your listeners as downloads. They're absolutely free. We have 112 of these books right now, and they're all different themes. Some of them, as I mentioned, were bald. Another one is, leaders in Atlanta. We have legacy, we have inspiration. So we have all kinds of different stories. But the cool thing about these stories is almost every one of these authors has been extremely vulnerable in sharing, hey, this life wasn't easy. I didn't just pop up at the top of my food chain or my space. I actually went through some really horrible stuff in my life. And we're reminded that when other people can make it, we can too. And I think that's where we get lost sometimes in that worry syndrome is you get this stack of bills or you get this stack of problems and you're like, I don't know if I can make it. And I'm teaching my son right now. I give him these vocabulary words. And I mean, I know it sounds like a really mundane example, but when he gets these vocabulary words, they might be 4 syllables long. And he says, I can't spell that. I said, no, break it apart. Can you spell X, E-X? Can you spell plan, P-L-A-N? Can you spell A, and then shun, explanation? And then now he commands words that are pretty long. And that's what life is about. It's like it's chunking challenges and problems, and you get stronger. And our books are about how you create your who. And the stronger your who is, our hypothesis is the stronger your will to live is, the stronger your purpose is, and the stronger your integrity is to deliver hope, abundance, and solve problems.
I think that's amazing. First off, the fact that you're allowing hope into the world. A lot of people don't have hope, especially right now with societal problems and all everything that's going on. A lot of people are scared for the future. But when you look at it, having hope is really the only thing that gets us through sometimes.
Right.
And then realizing that the universe or whatever you choose to believe in will provide if you let it and you take the action towards getting that thing, and allowing yourself to actually do what you need to do.
Yeah, and you're causing it. You're in control of causing it. And there's a study of Holocaust survivors, and without exception, the ones that survived the Holocaust were the ones that believed they would make it through. So
That's
it's a mind over
crazy.
matter. It is. And given that there was starvation and such a low percentage of people that actually made it through, it is very interesting that the ones that made it through, not only they lived a long life, but they put life in perspective, obviously, in that moment and afterwards.
After being that's pretty much the worst trauma that
Yes,
anyone
so nothing
could be
could
through.
so nothing could compare afterwards. So they put life in perspective afterwards. So they had an issue, whatever it is, and they put it in perspective. I mean, when someone's having a bad day or a good day, it can always be better and it can always be worse. So why don't you cause it to be better?
So how does a person choose to do that?
Oh, gratitude is probably the number one way to do it. Having gratitude moments. I think prayer is something I apply, especially at meal times, but at bedtime. And it also frames what you're going to be receiving. So without getting too religious, when you are praying, you are all in a state of meditation, or you're in a conversation with the universe. You're also in a conversation with your mind.
Ken, I may have lost you again. I'm not sure what's going on. Are you still there? I'm still there. So it's a weird thing. For the one viewer who's watching, can you leave a comment to make sure that I can actually see if Ken actually dropped out or if I dropped out? If you leave a comment, I'll know that I'm fine. When people are trying to get through their mindset, Ken, did you drop out? I hate things sometimes. So I'm still live, apparently. So I want to thank everybody who watches this. We're going to continue the interview shortly, ladies and gentlemen. What I would suggest you do is you fast forward. I would suggest you fast forward whenever you see Ken come back in, because I'm going to add another connection in so I can actually continue through. And as I do that, it's going to have me drop out for a second. But yeah, just fast forward to the part where Ken comes back in, because frankly, I'm not sure when it's going to happen. But sometimes the internet's wonky, right? It's a strange process that we go through these days. So as I drop out and Ken comes back in, just know that everything's going to be okay and life is good. So come on, darling, where's my Wi-Fi? Do. Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way, everybody. Come on, darling. Ken,
We're going old.
There you are.
Yeah, we're going to go old school. We're just going to go with the phone. I think that's the only way I can guarantee we're going to stay on this signal.
Cool. As you do that, I'm going to drop out for a minute, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Now, and so what I did is I dropped out of my connection too, and I put my computer on my phone. So now we're both on phones, so we bet it should work.
You know, the advantage is we're getting 3 shows out of this.
Well, this one, I never stopped this. I just told people, go ahead, move along, fast forward it if you're watching it. And everybody's dropped out for live, so we're okay. So What were we even talking about? I know the Keep Smiling movement and starting to
Well, you were
overcome
talking
things.
about
And
you were talking about if people smile, so you smile for the sake of smiling, or because they're in a bad circumstance, or I think that was what
yeah,
we were talking about. And so
yeah.
I was talking about people that are smiling all the time, and this has been actually a great example of using smiles, because if you shift and you have things like the drop Wi-Fi and things like that eat you up, it affects the show, it affects the audience. There's just so many things. So I'm just happy that I'm back on the show. And if there wasn't, it just isn't meant to be right this moment. It's not a big deal. And that's another thing of putting things in perspective. You know, I've always seen that when something happens later, it's more powerful because you have more time to focus on it, or you're putting out that this will be a more powerful experience. So now I have to be twice as powerful, if not 3 times more powerful in this third part.
Well, we talked about earlier about the Buddhism thing of, if you can't change it, then why worry about it? So
Right.
what's the point in worrying about this? Hello, one viewer. Thanks for coming on. So when
See, we're not going to make that viewer. Hey, I don't want to make that viewer feel bad and say that we outnumber them.
We do. Ooh, no, I'm just kidding. But if you're just joining, thank you for coming on. If you've got questions for Ken, please leave them in the comments. I may or may not be able to answer them somehow, because this thing may not work. Ken, when we look at smiling and look what it does to the brain chemistry, it changes everything, right? It allows your dopamine levels to come up. It allows your endorphins to come up. When you are trying to build relationships by being a happier person, does it ever come off as weird if you're just smiling at people and spreading some cheer?
I think if that's in the background, it sure does. But I think if you are a happy person and it's genuine and your intentions show that it's consistent with your body language, I think it actually comes across as very welcoming, peaceful, loving, all the things it's supposed to be. And I think if you feel foolish, if you're smiling too much, I guess that's how you're going to feel. And it's not necessarily how the world feels about you. We
So
have
what you're saying is you're letting...
I was going to say, I have a new Science of Smiles book. The good news about having the mobile is I can be mobile right now. But this is the new Science of Smiles book.
Oh.
And it's second edition. And, you know, the cool thing about these books is that we give them away electronically for free because we want people to actually experience happiness. And by the way, if this is okay to say, that June 24th is National Joy Day. So let's celebrate.
That's awesome.
Let's celebrate this whole month. It's like your birthday. If your birthday lands on a weird day, just celebrate it all week, right?
That's right. If it's on Tuesday, you take up the full week and you do whatever you got to do. That's awesome.
Exactly. We do have a group called the Keep Smiling Ambassadors, and it's about, you know, it's only been around for maybe 3 weeks. We had one person start it. I think it was me, and now we have 2,300 right now. And we welcome people to come to that group, because if they come to the group, they're going to be surrounding themselves with positive people, and guess what happens then? They get
positive too.
Yeah, they get a new perspective.
So Dean Hankey is actually watching right now. Hi, Dean. Here's the thing, Dean. You were mentioned in the last episode when I talked to Andrea. So, Ken, Dean says he loves you and he loves the Science of Smiles. And I think Dean's in your book too, or at least one of them, right?
Oh, he's in several. And he'll be in many more. I actually am trying to coax him into sharing his story and his journey, because I consider him one of the top leaders for positivity. He's entertaining. He is certainly a believer in joy. And you can't help but feel great when you're with him.
My relationship with Dean goes back a long way, where I thought I had insulted him, and I had that thought in my head for almost 10 years. And it turns out he didn't even remember what I said. It was on a forum, because sometimes Dean, he does a lot of kills, so it comes across very pushy on the internet sometimes. But Dean, I love you like a brother, my friend. Yeah, when people want to buy or get your books, because most of them are free online, keepsmiling.movement.com. That's what's scrolling below, correct?
It is. And
awesome.
You're familiar with TED Talks, right?
I am, yes.
So we're preparing a TED Talk that I think you may find some interest in. I guess, the human behavior, psyche, and science of this particular topic. So I alluded earlier to the developing of your who. So we have three parts to the chapter, the book, that we ask an author to create a book. And by the way, it's only 2,000 to 4,000 words, so we call it a dose of hope. And so the first part is your journey in life, and how you created who you are is obviously the inspirational piece that makes you unstoppable, inspires others to say, hey, if he can do it, I can do it too. Or if she can do it, I can do it too. The second part is borrowing from the Simon Sinek. Instead of the why for a company, it's the why you enjoy what you do, why you create what you do, and why you're committed to what you do. And those two, the who and the why, create your how, which is how you administer abundance and solve problems. And I think you'll agree that anyone that has a high why and a high who, which is integrity, will always be a high review person. There'll be a high 5-star reviews, etc. So that's one component. The second component is you get to pick 100 people. And so obviously, if we're writing a book, we both choose Dean as one of 100, but it's the people that inspire you, mentor you, that you look up to, that have caused your life to be better. And then it's the people perhaps below you that support you, push you up, and never let you stop doing great things. And the third thing about the TED Talk is your SPH. And your SPH is how many smiles per hour are you creating in the world. So those are how many smiles you're creating for yourself, how many smiles you're creating for others. And there's definitely a correlation to the amount of smiles you're giving yourself are recycling out in the world and are touching so many people beyond you.
It's amazing what a smile can do. Before we end off, technically, you had something you wanted to show with your son. Is your son still around?
He is. Kenny, are you available? We got to do the joke right now if you want to do it now. This is the time,
Come
Kenny.
on.
Come on, Kenny.
Come on in, Kenny.
Is he coming? Okay. You better be coming quick. We're about to sign off. You got two good jokes, I hope. I'll show his cover of his new book. It comes out this week. His birthday is June 14th, which is Flag Day.
Okay.
Are you ready for him? Here he is. Okay, go ahead and say your jokes.
Hi, Kenny.
You want to do the turtle one? Go ahead and do turtle one first.
No, I want to do how did the baseball cross the field?
How did the baseball cross the field?
Because it was a home run.
Because it was a home run. That's why.
That's awesome.
One more quick one.
What did the dad buffalo say to the son buffalo when he was leaving for school?
What did the daddy buffalo say to his son as the buffalo was going to school?
You ready? I know this one.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, say it.
Bison.
Bison. But you already knew that, right, Jesse?
I did.
But he told it well, didn't he?
That's fantastic. So your son's book, let's get the title of that, because Keep Smiling Movement's fantastic, but your son's book, we want to make sure that he gets popular from this book. It's called Kenny's Favorite Jokes Cracking You Up, which is fantastic.
And it's his first book. It'll be on Amazon next week, or this week coming up. Yep.
That's fantastic. Once more, Ken, I want to thank you for being on, and this has been a lovely time. I do thank you for coming on, and everybody that wants to talk to Ken, go over to the Keep Smiling Movement, and they're on Facebook as well. Keep Smiling Movement ambassadors, is that correct?
Facebook.com groups the Keep Smiling Ambassadors.
Okay, and go join the group and have some fun over there. The last question I end off with, Ken, is actually, it really applies to you. What's one thing you've done today, other than this interview, because let's face it, a little bit rough today, but what's one thing you've done today to make yourself happy?
Well, I think the thing that made me happiest was that I was able to reconnect with you 3 times, and I had 5 shows today. I technically count this as 7. But,
well,
you know, I'm always happy when my son gets to tell a joke, because I see that he's actually going to be a future leader for creating happiness. I call him a game changer, because that's changing the game when you cause happiness.
That's the fact that he was able to make me laugh twice. That's fantastic. So I do want to thank you for coming on. Everybody who's watching, hit the share button, because even though it was a little bit wonky, share, because Ken's message needs to get out there. And thank you very much, Ken, for coming on. Everybody, we end the show in one way. Ken, I'm going to ask you to wave bye-bye, and I'll hit end broadcast. Bye.